And you're watching The Front Bench. Well, this week's edition, quite interesting as we speak Digital Uganda. And well, in studio, we have a great panel, and we're going to be enjoying this particular conversation as we find out if they're yet to revise some of the laws to incorporate the artificial intelligence. Well, this evening, that and much more for our discussion. You're most welcome once again to us. They are back home, and we're happy to have you at home. Congratulations upon the win. It's been a ride having the Liberation Day come through and the Tarehe Sita celebrations. How has it been like for you before we get into our conversation? I'll start with the Honorable Minister.
It has been fine. For me, I've been part of the campaigns struggling in Chinchiz East, and I won. And I am happy to be back in Kampala. For the last few days, days and months I've been a villager in Kanungu, but I am back. And thank you, UBC, for inviting us.
You're most welcome, and Happy New Year, since we never got the opportunity to wish you one.
Thank you.
Well, Honorable, just next to me, you're most welcome. Happy New Year to you, and congratulations upon, it's been a busy one as far as Uganda is concerned. Maybe just getting the viewer to understand how you've been and how you're doing.
I think everything is okay. For us, as you know, the communication sector is an enabler, and we are in this period of elections where everybody looks at us to see how we enable this period to go on smoothly. We are happy that we have walked through it without any problem. Then we congratulate ourselves, and we congratulate Ugandans, especially our stakeholders, the customer, the consumers, who had even to bear with us when we had to temporarily stop some of the services because of some other wider issues, security issues. But our consumers, I think they are understanding, they understood why we had to do so. And here we are back in full swing, moving full steam. Yeah.
Here, 2026, here we come. Well, I'll move to the Honorable Minister, just getting to understand for the viewer that was watching tonight, what does Digital Uganda mean to the everyday Ugandan?
Yes, thank you very much. Now, when we talk of Digital Uganda, digital vision, we are basically referring to the technology revolution that has been going on over the years. I am sure viewers are conversant with terminologies like we are now in the fourth industrial revolution. When you speak of the fourth industrial revolution, it means over the years we have had several revolutions, basically referring to the kind of technologies which have been invented, the innovations which have come in place, and they have influenced the way we do things. When you look at the first industrial revolution, that's when machines were discovered or innovated, and there was mass production, moving from manual production to machine production, and went into the second revolution, where we got things like electricity. This electricity is an innovation. Things like radio frequency, getting radios. We went into the third, where we got computers and internet. So there has been an evolution in terms of technology. And now today, we are in the fourth industrial revolution, even peeping into the fifth and onwards, which is characterized by many emerging technologies. Technologies which are shaping the world, technologies which are driving transformation, technologies which are enabling things to be done much better, much more effectively, and therefore there has been this systematic move from rudimentary, traditional manual systems to an environment where we now use technology to drive things. Now, so this technology revolution has been on, but what we see is that there is a sharp, maybe digital divide between what you would call the global north and the global south, where we fall. But countries in the global south, Uganda inclusive, are also trying to catch up with the rest of the world so that the technology train does not leave us behind. Because where we are now, technology is driving everything. Whether you hide your face in the sand and pretend that you do not know that there is technology, or you pretend that technology is for the global west, for the north, technology will knock on your door and you'll find it imperative that you have to be part and parcel of this. And that's why countries like Uganda had to put in place infrastructure, like having a ministry responsible for ICT, which I head as a minister, whose cardinal responsibility is to facilitate and drive digital transformation in the country, so that Uganda also catches up with the rest of the world in terms of embracing technology, in terms of ensuring that technology is part and parcel of what we do. So the digital vision is basically a framework that guides us on how to integrate technology, how to ensure that whatever we do in our day-to-day happenings, technology is at the center. Now, there are many things that we do, and I'm sure Ugandans appreciate that when you look at the landscape today, it is much different from the way it was 20, 30, 40 years ago, because now technology is part of us. Many of the things now that we do are facilitated by technology, including you in the media. I'm sure you appreciate the way you run media services now is not the way you run the media services 20, 30 years ago. Within the government, for instance, we have tried to make sure that we automate government service provision, whether you want to get a driving license, a passport, a land title, most of these documents you get. Now you are facilitated by technology. If you look at the communication, you recall 30, 40 years ago, the way we were communicating is not the way we do it now. Now, courtesy of mobile telephony, telecommunication has changed. If you talk of transactions, say money transfers, do you now appreciate that I can sit here and I am having a talk show, but I can pay somebody's fees just using my phone? I just withdraw money from my bank account, put on my phone, and then send it on the bank account of a school, and school fees will be paid without walking to a bank, without living here. This is the revolution which has taken place. And within the government, there are many services now that we provide that are facilitated by ICT and digital platforms. Take an example of payment system. Years back, government used sometimes to fry money. At times we do drive money to districts to go and pay. Places like Bundubujo, at times they would be cut off and they fry money to go and pay civil servants. But now, payment is digital. It is facilitated by electronic transactions. Procurement, we now do it using electronic transactions. So we now see a lot of technology, and we have put in place a number of policies, a number of legislations, a number of interventions to facilitate all this process. So I usually tell my audiences that the future is digital and intelligent. And the government is facilitating this process to ensure that we are part of this digital world. I am sure even our local citizens, whether in West Nile, Karamoja, Chigezi, they are feeling the impact of this digital revolution which is going on. And our work now as a ministry, as the people who are driving this, is to ensure that we move forward and ensure that technology becomes the driving force for whatever we do. And the technology now is relevant and applicable in all sectors of life, whether you talk of healthcare, education, agriculture, business, transport, all these are the center. Say, if you want better outcomes, if you want better results, then technology now becomes integral to all these services. And that's our work, to ensure that technology is well embedded in whatever we do in our day-to-day lives in Uganda, whether in government, but also in private.
Wow, amazing and commendable job for the government that is ensuring that all of us get into the digital world.
Thank you.
I'll just move to the Executive Director, Uganda Communications Commission, you being the expert. As the Honorable Minister has put it, digital is the way to go, making sure that in our everyday life, every Ugandan taps into the opportunity to go digital.
Yeah.
How are you ensuring, or how are you improving internet access nationwide as UCC?
Thank you very much. As a specialized agency, like the Minister has well articulated, ours is to make sure that every actor in this space plays to the rules. Public policy is always articulated in the law. So here we are having a law, the UCC Act 2013, which articulates the digital agenda of Uganda and how it should be handled, with the accompanying regulations, which are 20 also, with other supporting policy, the ICT policy, which is well articulated by the ministry. So as regulators, we look at this and enable to see that the consumers get the best out of these directives from government. The whole system begins from the licensing obligations. So we are the custodians of the licensing as a specialized agency of government. Licensing obligation is one. I'll be articulating each and every of these. Two, competition in the market. Three, the quality of service. And four, the cost-based pricing. All those are under our ambit, the specialized agency regulating the communications space. So starting from the licensing obligation, each operator in this place, where we have about four national telecom operators, if you may want, that is MTN, Uganda, Airtel, Laika Mobile, and Uganda Telecom Limited. We have other virtual network like Tokyo. We have Hamilton. All those we issue them with a license, and we give them specific obligation to ensure that they reach out. For example, the national telecom operators, as per the licensing regime we talk of today, they are obligated to reach 90% of the geographical coverage of Uganda to provide voice and basic data services to the consumers in Uganda, 90% of Uganda. And we monitor this on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis to ensure that they comply to that. The ICT policy gives some obligation to the operators, which again we have to implement and operationalize, giving that the basic internet, what we call basic internet, should be at least 4 megabits per second everywhere. That's the minimum. We make sure that when we talk of basic internet services, that one is achieved. Then the most important of all is to ensure that competition is adhered to. There are no barriers to entry. All the players in the space are following the rules of the game. We have more than 30 ISPs in this country, the so-called internet service providers. We have MNOs, those ones which I've mentioned, some of them national telecom operators, others virtual operators. So when the competition is right, prices will be right. I think that's the basic. And we ensure that most of our work, like economic regulation, is a key operating issue at the regulator. We have a whole directorate which looks at the competition. Is the competition good? Because when you go wrong on competition, then you go wrong on prices. When you go wrong on competition, then you go wrong on quality of service. So we make sure that competition is right, that people don't unnecessarily block others to operate in this space. We do that. Then we monitor quality of service all the time, 24/7. Quality service. Are people giving out what they're supposed to do? Then we go ahead to make sure that consumer protection is also embedded in our regulatory framework. Because when consumers are not protected, then you are getting everything wrong. Because all of us, the ministry, from the policy point of view, from the regulatory point of view, from the operator point of view, we must make sure that the consumer gets what is promised through those individual contracts between the consumer and the operator. So we monitor that. So ours mainly is to look at competition, is look at the licensing obligation, is look at the quality of service to make sure that internet reaches out everywhere. But on top of that, I told you of the 90%. So who handles the 10%? Who handles the 10%? Because as you know, communication is a merit service, is a necessity, is an essential service, if you may. So if you give 90%, what happened to the 10%? So what happens to 10%? You have what we call the Universal Access Fund, which is also housed at the UCC. So that one handles the 10%. Quite a number of those towers, sites you see in rural areas, things like digital literacy, content moderation. We have now even ventured into we have ventured into devices. We've gone to schools in the education. We do a lot in education. Actually, when you go to government schools, I think we've reached out now close to 80% of government schools have a computer lab in this country. And out of those schools, close to 65% of those are connected to the internet. Not just internet, but internet at a level of 5 megabits per second, which is really quite good internet, especially when you think of where we came from. I remember some time back, some 10 years back, when we were making these efforts, we'd use what they so-called the VSAT satellite to reach out these schools. And we are giving out only 256 kilobits per second. People who know this will tell you what that means. That's like if you are thirsty and you wanted to take water, somebody gives you about 2 drops of water. The kind of water that was given to Jesus when he was on the cross. I think somebody dipped whatever sponge and just put water on his mouth. Very, very little, but it's better than nothing.
Better than nothing.
So we've moved from 256 kilobits per second, KBS, to 5 megabits per second today. Throughout the country, when I tell you covering 80% of the schools, it's not a smaller effort. The UCC in this journey, when the districts were still only 79, at one time I think districts were about 39, 79. All the first internet points of presence in those rural districts were provided by that fund, for that, by extension, UCC. Then lastly, the most important thing, the resource. Because why we are there as UCC mainly is to hold in trust that resource that enables communication, especially telecommunication, and that's called the spectrum. Without spectrum, you can't talk of data, you can't talk of voice. You know, you haven't had anybody in this country, all our operators, nobody is complaining that they don't have enough resources to offer internet. We have given these resources out equitably and fairly to all the operators. All the 4 national telecom operators, UTL, Leica Mobile, MTN, Airtel, have enough resources to provide internet throughout this country. And that's a very big job because these resources are finite. They are finite resources. And always, that's always the challenge. Are you giving out these resources equitably? We have given these resources equitably to the extent that even we have some resources which we have. Because when you look at the market today, I think our market is a bit concentrated. The minister, we have already briefed the minister about this. We have a concentrated market where you find two major players holding about 96% of the market share. That's a bit abnormal in inverted commas, but it's a good first start because it's a small market again. We'll be talking about issues of affordability. When you have a market, although we are 46 million people, 45 million people, but affordability is still a very big issue. And you always measure affordability in terms of what we call the average revenue per user. Average revenue per user in Uganda is about slightly below $4. $4. The average in Africa is about $5.5. But we are happy in the communication government by putting up these other programs where they are shifting the majority of our people from subsistence to commercial, especially agriculture. Already we see a bump. We see a bump. People have started affording these services. And that's very, very important. Affordability by a greater majority has a very big relationship with the price of internet. Of course, because of economies of scale. When you are serving a bigger market, you can be able to serve a bigger market at a lower price. But when you are serving a smaller market, the prices will always be high. So for us, bigger numbers uptaking data also have a relationship with the prices of internet. Now we come to the issue of devices, because connectivity in the ecosystem of telecommunication, we have what we call connectivity, the general connectivity. Do you have a signal? Can you read a signal? A signal that can download internet, upload internet everywhere in the country? Yes, you have the signal. After having a signal, there's what we call the last inch connectivity. That's the device. And when we call of the device, we are not talking of the cartouche. We are not talking of a feature phone. We are talking of a smartphone. Now, with the 42 million SIM cards we have in this economy, we only have 19 million smartphones. Only 19 million smartphones. Only about 15 million, 16 million people are joined on the internet. You can see the market is still small. And one of the constraints which we have studied is the affordability of the smartphones. As a regulator, we're also empowered to advise the government on these matters and also to do advocacy. We are doing advocacy. We are happy that government is listening to their regulator to see what we can do about these smartphones to unlock, to be affordable, to unlock that wide potential, especially. The conversation now is on the entry-level smartphone, not the smartphone that Madame Kahunde has, which costs about 6 million. And my sister there, those ones, for me, I don't care much.
Not only away from, I understand when it comes to the affordability of the phones themselves, but even the data as well. You talked about the competition, the pricing, and the quality itself. Maybe just letting the minister, thinking about the UTL itself, why should UTL be competing in the space where MTN and Airtel is? Shouldn't UTL prioritize on the reduction of costs of data? Before we go for a break, at least briefly.
Well, maybe to supplement on the response to what we are doing to reduce the cost of internet. Internet is a very important resource and service which we take very seriously, and there are efforts to ensure that it becomes affordable to the ordinary Ugandan. About 2016, it's about maybe 9-10 years ago, internet was costing about $300 per megabyte per second per month. That's the measure that we use. But has since come down from 300 to 35. That's the government provided internet. On average, when you average with the private sector, it's at 45, meaning that the government provided internet is cheaper than the private sector. And there are a range of measures we are taking. One, we've been investing in the infrastructure, the national backbone infrastructure, which is the fiber optic, the cable, which comes from the Indian Ocean and comes to Uganda, and we've been extending it to ensure that it reaches the rest of the country. We are now about to over 50%, but we have embarked on extending it to all districts, all corners, and we also do what we call last mile connections in the hope that if many more Ugandans are hooked on the fiber, then it means the cost will come down. We have also opened the route through Tanzania, because we had the traditional route through Kenya. We have now opened the route in Tanzania, but also linked with Rwanda, with the DRC, with the South Sudan. And this linkage with the neighboring countries also contributes to the lowering of the cost. We are engaging the Ministry of Finance to see to it that we abolish or reduce any residual taxes that are still there on matters digital. And once on data, devices and others, once we remove these taxes, then this also considerably will bring down the cost of internet. We are exploring additional sources of broadband and connectivity. For instance, at the East African level, we are discussing as ministers of ICT the idea brought by our presidents to procure a regional satellite facility for East Africa. We want to do it jointly as a region to supplement the other sources of connectivity. But also, we are bringing other technologies to supplement this. So, in the next 1 or 2 years to come, the internet and other related devices and services will considerably be cheaper and affordable. For instance, the issue of smart devices. The ministry and government has been spearheading a number of efforts. About 2-3 years ago, a smartphone was costing around 1 million shillings. But today, you can get a smartphone at 150,000 Uganda shillings here in Uganda. And our target in the next 2 years is to reduce the cost to 40,000 according to our plans as a ministry. And there are many things we are doing. For instance, we are discussing as ministers in the region to, when we are importing, we harmonize and regularize all the guidelines. We are attracting investors to come and assemble and manufacture phones and smart devices within the region, and that brings the cost of these devices down. And once the cost is down, it means even ordinary people can afford these smart devices. And once as many as Ugandans can afford to have these devices, then it means as they use the internet, then the cost will come down. So there are a number of measures which we are spearheading to ensure that it becomes affordable for even ordinary citizens to transact. Because like I said, the future is digital, and we must enable Ugandans to transact digitally. So we are creating an ecosystem which is favorable, which is supportive. Coming to UTL or UTL, many Ugandans know UTL, Uganda Telecom. This is a national telecom company which has had challenges, but we are trying to revive it. We have been trying to capitalize it by attracting an investor who is partnering with the government. The process is still on, but what I can say is that the government is committed to ensuring that we invest in this UTL, we capitalize it, put in money, strengthen it, so that it can compete with the private actors like MTN, Laika, Airtel. The Uganda government will be having an interest within this UTL. Because also, yes, while we have supported the private sector, it also becomes important that we run a telecom where we have some interest as a government, not to wholly depend on private sector-led or owned mobile companies. So UTL is there, and we are reviving it.
Okay. Well, amazing.
Yes.
Great conversation coming your way. Shortly after these messages, when we return, we'll look at the policies and a whole lot more. Keep watching UBC.
This is the Front Bench.
My question is, what is the difference between rental tax and income tax? How comes I'm paying both taxes on my own premises? If you want to have a tin, but you are not making any income from your business, you should take on the obligation to continue filing your nil return.
Commissioner General, to invest in taxation. When people understand taxes and they know the importance of taxes and they know the fair assessment of these taxes they're supposed to pay, I think everybody will embrace taxation.
As banning groupage cargo, clearance protects small traders who cannot afford to import full container loads individually and rely on consolidation to remain competitive. Cargo to come in groupage is consolidation, it's legitimate, and we can't ban it. What we have banned, or what we have stopped, is the use of container leaders. Now, Fiona, the good news I have for you is that among the new tax proposals,
Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887 and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Booza Commissioner.
Welcome, traveler, to the adventure of a lifetime. Rare, beautiful, and precious. Embrace the unique, unforgettable, and extraordinary. Come and explore Uganda, the pearl of Africa.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala.
We have to change the political culture in this country, really. Who has bewitched Ugandans?
I want to assure you, as government, we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that Ugandans are safe.
We have conversations that have analysis, explanation.
This law society, this union of theirs, because they want a job everywhere, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want... No. We know it's a union.
You cannot be making a road, bitumen grade 1, in Congo for 5 billion.
But not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth.
The argument that the General Court Martial is responsible for peace and stability is without basis, either in law or in fact.
We have been told how Napoleon was a great orator. Now, Napoleon cannot help me get food. They told me combine harvesters in Saskatchewan. I don't know where Saskatchewan is. This is a geography we're taught. Instead of teaching me how to preserve Mabera forest, they're teaching me about Rhineland. This is a problem we got. We cannot run away from it.
Right now, you hear very disgusting stories of members of parliament. Instead of discussing the details of loans, they ask for their cuts.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
It's here.
This is the front bench.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, thank you so much for choosing National Broadcaster as we inspire you. We're coming to you live from Broadcast House, Nile Avenue. My name is Sandra and you're watching The Front Bench. I'm sitting in for Jethro. Well, today's episode, we are talking Digital Uganda, and our guests for this edition, I'm having Dr. Chris Bariomonsi, Minister for ICT and National Guidance, and I'm also having Honorable Nyombi Ntembo, the Executive Director for Uganda Communications Commission. Now, in our conversation tonight, as we go on, I'll just move to you, Honorable, letting us know how far is how effective is the Rural Communications Development Fund to your communication? Now I understand it has been changed into Uganda Communications Universal Services and Access Fund.
I think the fund is doing well. It is executing its mandate of reaching out to the underserved. Of course, it's a tall order. This obligation needs a lot of resources, but we've trained ourselves not always complaining about resources, but always talking about what we have done with even the little we have. The problem of universal access is big. At one time when we tried to estimate it, it comes to close to about 420 million US dollars, at least to reach to where we have to reach. But we get resources equivalent to about 8 million US dollars every year, which we have used to do quite a lot of things. I've already mentioned the ICT in schools, which is our flagship projects. They are providing computers to schools and connecting them to internet, giving them content, especially science content, which we've done close to 80% of government-aided schools, and a few private schools, because government directed us that even some private schools, especially where there's no government school, we must also provide. We've done a lot with regard to connectivity, building towers in those hard-to-reach areas. I've told you about the internet points of presence in the first regional 79 district. I talked about the towers now. We are building right now. We are doing close to 70 towers and in our strategic plan 2021 to 2026, we are going to do close to 200 towers in those hard-to-reach areas to cover that 10%, which is not, which can't be covered by commercial operators because of they are not commercially viable. We are doing a lot in terms of digital literacy. Digital literacy is a key issue when it comes to uptake of data. People want to uptake data, even if there is connectivity, even if they can afford. But when they are not digitally literate, they won't be able to uptake data. They won't be able to get involved in digital transactions. So we do a lot in digital literacy. And we have calibrated this in sort of silos for women, for youth, media, disabled, the general public, SMEs, small and medium enterprises, and really we do a lot throughout the country. I think every year we do close to 150,000 individuals who we expose to basic digital literacy. And basic digital literacy, the people watching us may not appreciate what it means. But if you took a sample, especially in rural area, if you go to 100 people and asked them, how many of you have an email address? I'm sure you'll find out that close to 85% of that sample won't have an email address. And as all of us know, probably the people watching us, without an email address, then you don't talk of digital transaction. Because any digital transaction, interfacing online transaction, you must have an email address. So it's as basic as that. You got these communities, at least the first thing in that 2 weeks training, which takes 8 hours a day for 10 days, 8 hours, and this is done scientifically from the best practices. We know when you expose people, 50 hours, they would have known the basics of really navigating the internet. The first thing we do, we give them an email address. Then we teach them the basics, how to navigate the internet, how to do the search, browsing, how to empower themselves, those basics. And you know, the way IT apps are designed, you just give a small test, people will on their own now learn more than even their instructors. So we do that. We do content moderation. For example, agriculture. We are doing a lot of work in agriculture. We are doing a lot of work with small and medium enterprises, helping them to know that, yes, you've got internet, but are you going to use it just for social media? Or you can use it to help to improve on what you are doing. So we are dealing with the mechanic, hairdressers, carpenters. Actually, now we are putting up regional centers under the Medium and Federation of Medium and Small Enterprises. These centers will be the centers of excellence for these people. We want even to provide what they call 3D printers, and you know how 3D printers revolutionize skilling. If you want to manufacture anything, you just look at it, you take it to a 3D printer, it prints this out, you look at it, then you can make it. You can make it. So we are doing this. We are also venturing into teacherly tooling. We are telling you what we are doing in schools. You can do a lot in schools. What about the teachers? So we retool teachers, especially in secondary schools. About 3,000 teachers every year. Actually, by the time we last did our impact assessment, we had reached out to around 35% of secondary school teachers. But as you know, attrition, you retool these, they retire, new ones come. Now we want to change the strategy to go to teacher training colleges. So that every teacher that leaves a training college already has ICT skills which can pass on to the learners. We are doing a lot in devices. We have started on devices, giving devices to the poorest of the poor. We have been doing this for the past 2 years, and we have reached out to close to 20,000 households. We are still moving slowly, but surely given the resources we have. So when we combine all that, I think we're executing our mandate to cover the 10%, and really the fund, to me, is really executing its statutory obligations well.
Okay, well, amazing. Just moving to the Honorable Minister, in your submission in regards to Airtel, we want to feel it on ground, we want to feel it. But maybe earlier on you did mention how the ICT services have helped education, the ease of paying school fees itself, and away from flying to Bondibujo to take money and make transactions, at least ICT has helped a bit. But we want to get to understand the support that a government is giving out to people to make sure that no one is left behind. For example, when it comes to UBC, what support are you giving us? The inclusivity to make sure that no one is left behind in as far as the digital space is concerned.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe it start with the UTL or UTL. Like I had said earlier on, UTL is a public telecom company which till of recent was fully owned by government of Uganda, the shareholders being Minister of Finance and the Minister of ICT. But we've been in the process of attracting an investor whom we have given a 60% shareholding, but the process is not yet complete. we do hope that this investor, once he puts in money, or the investor puts in money, then we shall capitalize it and be able to develop it into a strong, robust telecom company. We even had plans to shift the NBI, the National Backbone Infrastructure, which is currently run under NITAU, to be managed under this telecom. So once it is up and running, it will have a strong component of data and digital services. So we plead that you be patient, Ugandans should be patient. We complete this process, and then we should be able to have a robust telecom company where government has shareholding, and it should be able to provide services alongside the other players like MTN, Airtel, and the other private sector telecom companies. Now, regarding the services, like I said from the beginning, where we are now, you cannot run away from technology. And technology is impacting on all sectors of life. And indeed, as we facilitate this digital transformation, as we invest in infrastructure, as we invest in digital literacy, as we ensure that technology percolates and affects all sectors of life, the different sectors are definitely integrating technology. Let's say education. Like the Honorable Nyambitembo was explaining, that fund, the rural fund that the UCC runs under our sector, is meant to ensure that technology does not become an issue of Kampala and the urban areas, that even the rural areas, in the rural setup, we should be able to have technology services. For instance, like he said, when we are licensing these service providers, say the telecoms, MTN, Airtel, and others, internet providers, our policy dictates that they cover up to 90% of the geographical area they are working in within 5 years. And then that fund under UCC is used to cover the 10%, because you will find there are areas which may not make business sense for some of these investors, but government has a responsibility of ensuring that services reach the people. Let me give you an example. These telecom companies, for them, they are doing business. They are erecting masts and then doing their work. There may be areas which they see that probably investing in the masts and the telecom services is not as lucrative and profitable as they see it. Say areas, parts of Karamoja, or those underprivileged areas, but remains the responsibility of government to ensure that those people there also get the service. So that fund is meant to now cover that gap, the 10%, which is not covered by these licensed service providers. Government comes in. So now, like in education, there are many things we'll be doing. Using that fund, we've been buying computers and setting computer services within our schools and putting internet services, because under the ministry we have UCC, we have NITAU and other service providers, and we work in a coordinated manner. So we'll be trying to ensure that the children, our learners in Kanungu, in West Nile, in Karamoja, have the same opportunity of having access to internet and computer services and IT like those in Kampala. So it's deliberate that we ensure that our school system also gets hooked on this technology revolution, and we've been doing it. You know that today, acquiring a degree or any other qualification does not necessarily mean that you have to get into a bus from Koboko, you come to Kampala, go to Makerere, sit in the classroom. You know that you can sit in the comfort of your sitting room in Karamoja, and you pursue a degree in America, in China, in Europe, or even in Kampala, without stepping here in Kampala, without boarding a bus to come, courtesy of technology. Now, our work, what we do as a ministry, as a government, is to ensure that we create an ecosystem, a favorable environment that supports that person. You are working here at UBC. You may want to further your education. Now, furthering your education doesn't necessarily mean you must leave your work and go for lectures. You can just, courtesy of that computer, be able to pursue a master's degree, a PhD degree, a bachelor's degree, as long as internet and data is affordable, as long as you have a smart device like you have, as long as you are able to communicate and so forth. And that is true for the other services. Business. Today, doing international business meant you have to get on Emirates, you fly to China, Guangzhou, you shop things and come back. But now, courtesy of technology, you can just order online, just using your phone. You can order items from Guangzhou, from Japan, you make payments, and then your goods are delivered at your doorsteps. Even if you are in Kanungu, my home area, these items can come and find you in Kanungu, courtesy of technology, and so forth, and so forth, and so forth. So, where we are moving is that things must be made much more easier than the way they were done. If you look in the health sector, for instance, now you look at the records management in the health sector, you look at the way doctors now consult each other. Now, courtesy of technology, doctors in Arua Hospital in Kabale are able, for instance, to do X-rays and have radiological findings, which they can easily share with consultants in Marago, just using technology, telemedicine and so forth. I have been to countries like South Korea and even Russia and others, where they are using artificial intelligence now to make quicker, more accurate diagnosis, especially for cancer, including even treatment. So now technology is aiding management of health conditions and running hospital services much better than it used to be.
The list of technology is quite endless.
Quite endless. I was one time I was in Hungary. I was in a medical school. When I trained as a doctor in Marago, they were training us using cadavers. A cadaver is a preserved dead body which you use to teach anatomy. But these days, courtesy of technology, you do not need to teach using dead bodies. You just use computer simulations, and they give you, I think, better knowledge and give you better skills than even the cadaver. So things have changed. And what we are doing now as a ministry is to ensure that all these emerging technologies, artificial intelligence, robotics, blockchain, nanotechnology, big data, all these, we translate them into simple technology in our day-to-day lives to make things much easier. And we are doing the policies, the legislations, and the interventions to ensure that we bring down this technology from heaven down on earth for it to enable us to do
from
things
heaven,
much
so that
better.
all of us can tap
a lot of
into
things are being done, and
new submissions. I love the fact that you don't forget the people of Kanungu.
Yes. They are the people who bring me here. So
how I wish I was in your constituency, Honorable. There's so many Ugandans who are watching and following, and
Yes.
You mentioned something to do with artificial intelligence.
Yes.
They're also having questions coming through as far as AI is concerned, whether your revising some of the laws to cater for the artificial intelligence itself.
Yes.
And then we shall also move to UCC to see how they're regulating
I can comment on that one.
Someone, this is Peter Sunday. He says thanks for the program. He wants the views to do with the AI, and then also, despite having the positive and the negative, and then other questions that are still coming through, the closure of Facebook to Ugandans.
Facebook, yes.
Does it pose threats that led to its closure? And then someone else, another one is saying the restrictions on Facebook and what it means to the ordinary Ugandan. That's Charles from MPG. And another question to UCC, as UBC accessible to every Ugandan, what programs does UCC give, especially promoting agriculture and healthcare? So the questions are coming through from the viewers. Let's start with the
artificial intelligence. Like I said, there are many of these emerging technologies which we are trying to bring down, simplify them, domesticate them, and use them for efficiency and better results. I have just appointed a task force on AI to spearhead, to help us spearhead the process of coming up with a strategy and eventually a law on artificial intelligence. And I think consultations are now going on, led by that task force, so that we can come up with a strategy. Because technology is evolving, and technology is positive, but also has the downside. And it becomes very important to put in place measures, to put in place regulations, how this technology can be applied. So there is work that is ongoing, and soon we shall come up with a strategy that will guide on how we apply artificial intelligence in our day-to-day work, and many other technologies which are coming.
And
what was the other question?
And the question to do with the closure of Facebook, is it still a threat?
Facebook. You see, all these technologies, all these, the message from Facebook is that whoever comes to work in Uganda comes at the invitation of Ugandans and must comply with the laws, regulations, and the guidelines in Uganda. Uganda is not a lawless country where you come and just do anything. Facebook breached some of the rules here locally in the other previous electoral period, and the government was forced to put it on hold. But we have since engaged with Facebook, and there are a number of things we have agreed on. Once we conclude the discussions we are having with them, they will be back. We shall put them back. But the message is that you don't come to Uganda even when your service is very good, and then you want to overrun Ugandans. You must work within the framework of the law here in Uganda, whether your services are good or not. So I think Facebook overstepped their mandate then, but we have since been engaging with them, and we shall finalize those discussions, and once we have agreed, they should be back.
Now,
but
when
again,
it comes
becomes the lesson to the other platforms and providers also.
I'll move to Honorable here. When it comes to regulating AI itself, and then also someone was asked, well, someone is saying, good evening, I am Wejuche Peter, watching from Chenjeje District. Thank you for watching. AI is going to produce professors who cannot read and understand a book. Are you still going to regulate? And then someone is also complaining about, I guess, the masks, the masts everywhere in Mpigi District. And they pose a health threat.
Come again?
The internet masts in the area in Mpigi, are they posing a health threat?
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll begin with the AI. A lot of things are talked about AI, but mine, which I can give the people, whether regulation or whatever, you see, we are technology neutral. The minister has articulated very well that as a ministry, because for us to work, we operationalize policy and the laws. We don't make the laws. But even before the laws and the policy, we are a technology-neutral regulatory agency. We look at AI as another technology. Of course, AI has so many other challenges. What we have done as a regulator, we've looked at the law as is now. The comfort I want to give the people that the law as is now, although it's not adequate, but it can give us some powers to regulate AI. But what people should understand, AI is not only a communication issue. When you talk of AI, then you must always accompany it with use case. Where is it going to be used? AI to be used in transportation won't be regulated by UCC. It shall be regulated at the point of use. AI in medical field won't be regulated by UCC. Yes, we can regulate the platform, but at the use point, the medical council should regulate how AI is used. In education, for example, plagiarism, you call it copying, bringing material, plagiarism. Yeah, that one is not, for us, we can't regulate that as UCC. So the use case in education, the National Council of Higher Education has now to set standards of essays, of coursework, and even at because the universities are also regulators, they examine, they mark. They must regulate at that level. So that should be understood by the general public. That yes, government can regulate AI as a telecom service, but at every point of use, the regulation that work in that space should now consider AI in transport, in health, in education, in agriculture, in research. How do you regulate the use of AI in those different spaces?
Someone else is asking.
The towers.
In the district, Mpiji.
Towers. This is something which we deal with every day. As far as we are concerned, quoting the knowledge, subject matter experts, those are the doctors, World Health Organization, International Telecom Union, towers don't have any health problem. So far the science available indicates that there is no problem. And I should tell the people, whatever is on the tower is on the phone. What is on the tower? Their batteries, power source, their antennas, of course waves come there. Whatever, the radio, the radio which receive the
whatever is up there is the one that is
antenna, radio, power source. Everything on the tower is here.
Anyone I can say?
Yes.
The telecom masts, they emit radio frequency, electromagnetic fields, which are non-ionizing. So the energy levels in those radiations are weak. They cannot damage DNA of the body, if I use medical language. So meaning that the emissions from the masts are so weak that they are not harmful to the human body. Otherwise, we wouldn't allow them to be used and expose the people. And this is true for whether it is 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G networks. So the assurance just want to give the public that from a technical standpoint, that the radiation that is emitted by the masts is not harmful to human health.
Another question.
Even animal health is not harmful to living organisms. You are
safe. As we go digital.
So you can comfortably live near a mast.
Someone is suggesting.
To bring it home, I was giving the example of this phone.
Yes.
Before you fear a tower,
first fear the phone.
First fear the phone. Because whatever is on the tower,
yet we keep the phone
so many meters away. Is in the phone, on your body, you put it near your bed.
Well, there are lots of myths and misconceptions, but these things have been studied.
Yeah, sure.
And the evidence and information is available to assure the public.
Someone is having a suggestion. Why don't you borrow from China on discussing whether to pass a law for every blogger or content creator to have a degree on the specific topic they're discussing. That is to do with the socials.
Okay. Yeah, all those suggestions are welcome. We can always receive those suggestions. But
can you also regulate content on TikTok?
But Uganda, the NRM government, as a principle, believes in the freedom of communication and the freedom of expression, and they believe that Ugandans should enjoy their country. That's the baseline. Yes, we shall put regulations here and there, but without disrupting the freedom of Ugandans. But we are looking at all those, and we are coming up with the regulations and the guidelines on how to use social media, including exploring, bringing in technologies which can help us filter what can be published and what can be withheld. There are a lot of work is being done to regulate that space.
Okay, so many questions are coming in and suggestions from our dear viewers from wherever you're watching. That response was for you, Sultan Okelo, from wherever you're watching us. A few minutes to top of the hour, we shall be having news, and we still have a lot to exhaust here. I'll still move to the minister.
That said, we still plead to Ugandans to use social media responsibly and use it for development, not really to preach hatred, to abuse each other, to hurl insults. This is an opportunity, a technology opportunity, which we should use responsibly, and that's why we are hesitant to put a lot of restrictions, but let's regulate ourselves as we use social media.
Okay, I'll still shine on you. The light will still shine on you.
Yes.
Dr. Chris, maybe the personal legacy that you want to leave in Uganda's digital transformation before we let you go.
Well, my main responsibility now as I lead the Ministry of ICT is to see that there is digital transformation. And I work day and night, and I take my work extremely seriously. And I want to see that we attain full digitization so that the processes, the transactions, the way of life is completely digital. There are countries like China, when you go there with the money, you will come back with the money. You don't pay using cash. Everything is just digital. Every transaction is digital. So we would want to get there, that everything becomes digital and intelligent the way we work here in Uganda. So that I would want that to be my legacy, that by the time I am no longer the Minister of ICT, people would say, once upon a time, there was a Minister of ICT who worked very hard day and night, and now everything in Uganda is digital. Then I would be home and dry. Yes.
Oh, amazing.
Thank you.
I'll just move to you, Honorable. And when it comes to protecting the piracy itself, the piracy online, in terms of protecting local content, how are you doing it before we let you go?
That's big, especially we know that piracy can kill the film industry. Piracy can kill pay TV, which is coming in handy to reach out to those people who are not reached out. So we are really handling piracy. Already I'm collaborating with the ministry to see how to deal with this, because already we have a law on intellectual property in this country. We have a law on copyright in this country. Uganda is a law-abiding country. We don't want to kill innovations, because with the piracy, you kill innovations. We have already penalized quite a number of television licensed operators who are involved in piracy. We're educating them. When they don't listen, we penalize them. And we shall reach a level, I should say this as a regulator, we shall reach a level where piracy at a licensed level will reach levels where we shall withdraw a license, because we know, why do you use people's intellectual property without paying them? You are killing the whole ecosystem. So this is a very, very critical issue which we are handling, And I'm sure a regulation, a standalone regulation on piracy, because we are advisors, again, of government on these matters, we're already drafting, which we shall share with the ministry to see whether we can get a standalone regulation on piracy to fight that, that vice.
Are you also aware of the money lending services, the money lending apps?
Yeah. But as you know, mobile money is under central bank, but we collaborate. We have a memorandum of understanding. We collaborate. I'm sure my colleague, the governor, is doing something about that. The lending, the online lending, we know the issues involved, but that is for in the space of the regulator of the financial services. Yeah.
Well, I hope there's nothing we're leaving behind. Greetings to Ruth Kanungu.
No, thank you very much for this show, and we thank UBC for giving us the opportunity. We are always very ready and eager to come back and be able to speak to Ugandans about the work that we do, and we remain committed to ensuring that Uganda is not left behind in terms of integrating technology, in terms of ensuring that we are part of this technology train, and we shall do everything possible because technology is the way to go, and we appeal all of us, the listeners, the viewers, that please use technology to advance yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much for making time. Well, I believe we've exhausted.
Thank you, everything. It's
Yes.
well said, everything. I have nothing.
Well, thank you so much for making time and coming through with your busy schedules. Well, to our dear viewer, thank you so much for being a part of today's edition of Front Bench. My name is Sandra Kahunde, and our guests for the day, we had Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, Minister for ICT and National Guidance. Also had with us in studio, we had Honorable Nyombi Tembo, the Executive Director, Uganda Communications Commission. It's been a great conversation. Now we all understand that Digital Uganda is not just on paper, it is a vision in progress. And well, there's a lot to discuss, but next time, hopefully, if God allows, we shall bring you so much more as we continue to inspire you, our Ugandans. A few minutes to top of the hour, Jordan will be coming your way to give you the 10 p.m. news. My name is Sandra. God bless you. We love you. Thank you for watching.
Oh, Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future